Hello guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. You're a returning subscriber as always, guys. Welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I'm up early this morning, about to head out to work. I figured I'd drop a video on y'all, something that's been on my mind. I've been watching this story closely the past couple of days. I decided to speak about it because I think now's the appropriate time. This is the story about this young man right here. This is Travis King. He's a E2, which is a private second class in the U.S. Army. He was stationed in South Korea. Now he's in North Korea being held captive, supposedly. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this. It's an unfortunate situation, but I mean, it's something that we have to talk about as a community. And we also just really have to sit back and realize the danger this young man is in. Now, so far what we know, he was supposed to have been put on a plane because he got in trouble. He spent 48 days in a prison, South Korea prison over there, for getting in some type of skirmish and damaging a police car. He was released. He was sitting on the base for a week. They decided what to do with him, decided to send him back to the States, back to his home base. I think it's Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss. He was supposed to come back to Fort Bliss. Military security escorted him to the airport, made sure he went through the security gates. He doubled back, went back into the country. Booked a tour, got himself as close as he could to the border, and took off. Now, nobody knows why he did this, but I want to break this down in this video. I'm going to let you see what the family's saying, what an eyewitness that was there on that tour that he booked, seen him running and recounted the whole situation. And I want to give my account of what I think honestly is going on here and what I think is the ultimate end. I'm going to play this brief news footage real quick so everybody can get caught up on it. Then we'll come back and talk about it. Check it out.
Thanks to Skyler for that report. More details are emerging about what may have led up to a Fort Bliss soldier fleeing across the border to North Korea, while the isolated communist country remains silent on his status. NBC's Matt Bradley reports.
The family of the U.S. soldier in North Korean captivity speaking out.
I'm praying for him, and I hope that everybody else will pray for him too.
Private Travis King baffled American officials and set off an international uproar when he bolted to North Korea on Tuesday. Tensions between America and North Korea already ramping up, with the North recently testing 2 intercontinental ballistic missiles. The U.S. is delicately approaching the isolated nation, reaching out to the North Korean army and through other countries, including South Korea and Sweden.
We retain a number of channels through which we can send messages to the DPRK.
But back home in Racine, Wisconsin, King's family waiting with worry.
I think that he got a problem. He needs some help.
Sarah Leslie from New Zealand was on the same tour of the DMZ as King when he suddenly bolted across the border.
And my first thought was, what an absolute idiot.
Leslie identifying King in this picture she said she took minutes before. While serving in South Korea, King had run-ins with the law. Just before he fled to North Korea, King spent nearly 2 months in a South Korean prison for not paying a fine for damaging a police car, according to a South Korean government official. In 2016, Otto Warmbier, an American student, was detained in North Korea for more than a year. He was released to the U.S. in a vegetative state and died shortly after. Otto's father, Fred, said Private King deserves America's full support to get him home.
He willingly ran across the border. That makes him quite a bit different from your son.
Absolutely. But now that he's there, the facts are exactly the same. They're going to hold him hostage, and they're going to use him as a political prisoner.
Now, as Matt Bradley reporting, now as you may recall, King is a cavalry scout and has been in the Army since January of 2021. Now, during his rotation in Korea, he was originally assigned to Fort Bliss. King was escorted to the airport to be returned to El Paso, but instead of getting on the plane, that's when he instead ran across the border into North Korea.
All right, guys, that was the brief update of what's known right now, and a little bit of background on who this young man is. Now, nobody knows what made him do this, but I mean, he did it voluntarily. He ran over there. Now, I know there are going to be a lot of conspiracy theorists out here, and they're going to say, oh, well, he had government secrets and all of this stuff, and he might have been, they wanted to kill him or something. We're going to end that right now. I'm previous military, and this boy is only an E2. He's been in the Army 2 years. He's still in the training phase. They're not giving him government documents and all this stuff like his Spygate or anything like that. War games. No, he's a cavalry scout. And remember his job title, cavalry scout, because it might play into why he did this. And I'll get back to that in a second. But first, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to play 2 different videos and I'll play them back to back. The first video I'll play, guys, is the eyewitness, the lady that called him an idiot. I'll play her version of what happened, and she'll tell you everything that happened at the border. And then I'll go right into that, from that, into what the family's saying about this young man. And they are worried. And we should be too. Because when I explain how North Korea is, it'll open a lot of your eyes. And with what I'm going to say after that, which I hope it's not the case, you'll understand when I get to it. Let's hit it.
People were just taking photos and not really doing much. And then I suddenly noticed that there was a guy dressed in black running very, very fast towards sort of in a curved line towards the North Korean border. And at first I thought, like, what is going on? This must be some kind of joke. Maybe he has a friend who's filming it for TikTok. And I just thought that was, you know, the stupidest thing on earth. And then he didn't stop. And then at about that time, one of the American soldiers shouted, "Get him," and the American and South Korean soldiers chased after him, but he was going so fast and so close to the border by that point that they couldn't, they didn't catch him. So I didn't know that was his name at the time. I didn't know he was a soldier at the time because he was wearing like jeans and just a normal civilian t-shirt top thing. And then they when they got everyone back on the bus, they read out the list of attendees. We'd had our passports checked a number of times by this point, and you know, that was the name that got called out, and no one answered. That was when I realised what his name was. So I didn't really, I didn't talk to him. I saw that he was by himself. I saw that he'd bought a hat from one of the souvenir shops on the at the DMZ, and he was wearing that afterwards. And I saw him sitting next to one of the other tourists, but I didn't see them talking. And I overheard someone say that he was quiet, but yeah, I didn't hear anything beyond that. I mean, everybody, when we first got told to run and get into Freedom House, there were some people who I don't think had actually realised what was going on. But I mean, I personally just ran really quickly. And then when we got in the house, we were told to sort of line up, and then we were doing that, and then they said actually just get on the bus. So we did that, and it all happened so quickly. I think people were shocked and scared. It wasn't until we got on the bus that everybody kind of looked around and looked at each other and sort of said, what was that?
I think something wrong with him. You know, he ain't thinking clear. I don't think he was just ran out there like that. I can't see that. You know, and my daughter said the same thing too. She said, that don't seem like my son, you know, the way he came up and this and that. You know, I would like to see him come back and they get him some medical help. I think that's what he needs, medical help, you know. You know, maybe the Army just messed his head up. You know, that's for me to say. You know, his mama probably said the same thing. You know, because he never acted like that. You know, Travis is a nice guy. He really is. You know, he one of my best grandkids. You know, he mind his own business. He really do. He mind his own business. He don't associate with a whole lot of people. We had no problem with him coming up.
And I don't understand why he would do that, because it seemed like he was on his way back here to the United States. He was on his way home. So it don't make no sense to me. Something just got to be going on in his head to make him feel like he need to stay there or whatever. Like, I don't know. Really don't know what to think about it. I was really surprised. I heard about it. My little niece, she had sent me a link, and I read his name, Travis King. I'm like, huh? And it just tripped me out. From my knowledge, I just heard that he, I guess, got into a fight with some Koreans, and it's kind of hard, you know, believing that too. Like somebody had to push him to do that because he's not a violent type of person. He's really laid back. He's quiet, and that's Travis. Like really quiet. He don't really talk much. I don't know. I just remember him talking about how he wanted to go to the army. And he was going to do it, and he was excited about going. You know, so he wasn't with these streets and all this stuff. He was just quiet. I think he was looking up to his brother because his brother at the time wasn't a police officer. He was a correctional officer at Kenosha County Detention Center. And then he worked his way to becoming a police officer. And I think he was just trying to be like his brother. He wanted to do something positive, so that's what he chose to go to the Army. I know he in a real bad place, a bad situation, and I'm hoping that they let him come home and he'd be back around his mama or get him some help or something like that. Just be back around his family.
All right, guys, those are the clips I wanted to show you. You've seen the family was upset, and rightfully so. They're distraught, waiting for their loved ones to hear word of their loved ones. If he's alive, is he okay? Is he coming home? And, you know, everybody's pulling for this young man, even though what he did was stupid. But it was a reason for that. I don't know what that reason was. I have an idea what it was, because in one of the articles I read, it said that he didn't want to come back to America. Also, I think he was facing another court martial as he was coming back, because when you go to these other countries, they brief you. This is why his behavior was strange to do that. One of the first things they tell you when you get over to another country is how to act, what to avoid, and the reason why you're there, defending the position of those people in that land, and what the true enemy, immediate enemy is, and it is North Korea. So he was well versed about the DMZ, the demilitarization zone. That's where the soldiers stand face to face, North Korea versus South Korea, and they do that crazy stuff, but they dead serious. And they bring tourists through there on certain parts. He knew the tour. He went on the tour. He planned to go and jump into that hellfire. Why? I don't know. But he knew the dangers. Now, one of the reasons, what I'm thinking, and this is just me talking, he's a cavalry scout. Now, a lot of you don't know who cavalry scouts are. Cavalry scouts go out in groups usually. They're trained in reading maps, judging terrain, traversing, and doing reconnaissance, finding the enemy, calling airstrikes, and telling their position. I think he thought he was going to run into those woods. Remember, they was taking him to the plane. When he got through security, that's as far as the military can go. They just drop him off. Boom. Okay, he made it through security. He a grown man. They leave. They not privy to go through there. He turned around, doubled back, came back out, waited till they probably watched him, waited till they left. He back in the country. In an article, like I said, he didn't want to leave the country for some reason. He wanted to stay in Korea. Now, I think with him being a cavalry scout, he was going to do that thing where he goes over there. He already knows the odds and ends of what the military will and won't do. They can only chase you to a point. Then they have to stop. I think he ran into a point that he probably choreographed on a map somewhere. Figured he'd go in there, sit tight till dark, come back out, and then sneak back into the country of South Korea and, you know, live among the people. Because whether you realize it or not, there are retired soldiers over there, and there are people from all over the world that live in South Korea. So just seeing Koreans and other people over there is normal. He could have blended right in. The laws are not like over here. As long as he stayed out of trouble, he could have stayed there. And that's one of those things we don't understand. Now, that's why I think what his plan was to do it. Now, he's supposedly caught. Now, I don't know. No news outlet or any news has came out where they said they seen North Korean soldiers grab him and detain him. For all they know, he could be back in South Korea walking around. And I hope that's the case, because if he is caught in North Korea, guys, I'm going to really put the premise of this video on that. The news outlets are all broadcasting this, and this is worldwide news because this is strange, and it's a political nightmare for America. If everybody's televising this, guess who else is televising it? I mean, guess who else is seeing it? Kim Jong-un. Now, the country he's in is very isolated. In fact, I'll tell you how isolated it is. You ever see those tribes that are in the Amazon where they don't have no human contact, but people know they exist, but they don't touch them because it would disrupt the natural order of things? So they've never seen anybody that doesn't look like themselves. That's how North Korea is. That's facts. This guy, Kim Jong-un, they call him the supreme leader, and they think he's God. Really, they think he's God from heaven. They have a fictitious story of this man being born on a mountain and coming down and being able to walk and talk at birth. All this fictitious stuff made. He comes from a family of dictators that have ran that country for a while. They lack a lot of technology. I think they only have like 1 or 2 TV stations, and all of them are government controlled. This is how serious it is. Over there, men can only have 6 hairstyles, and they're all hairstyles that he says they can have. I think women can only have 4. If you cut your hair any other way or show any type of expression outside of what he approves, they kill you. He watches normal TV where they don't have access. He loves basketball. He loves Dennis Rodman. He's met Dennis Rodman multiple times. Dennis Rodman has gotten in trouble for going to North Korea. Why? Because U.S. citizens are banned from entering into North Korea because of the danger. If you remember back a while ago, Dennis Rodman got in trouble for going over there and hanging with Kim Jong-un. U.S. was like, hey, Dennis, you can't do that, man. You know what I mean? But honestly, if he is there, and if anybody could get him out, it would be Dennis Rodman. Seriously. I mean, think about that. If anybody, because I mean, this guy is a huge fan of Dennis Rodman. He's like his idol, and they think they best of buddies. But like I said, Kim Jong-un knows who he is. He's going to stand out because there ain't no black folk over there in North Korea. He's going to stand up. They're going to televise it. People are going to tell on him. North Korea is a seriously crazy place. When they show YouTube, go on YouTube channels where they show people from other countries take tours, they watch them like hawks. I mean, they're on them. What do you got in your hand? No taking pictures. You can't do this. They take them to a certain area that they have fixed up like a Hollywood studio and make it look like people are walking and shopping. They have food and stuff in the windows fictitiously made up. And then when you go in the store, it's a backdrop like with nothing back there. That's how crazy it is. They make it like everybody's happy. The people are starving over there. North Korea and South Korea was once one country, right? This man has starved his people and ruled over them with an iron fist so bad they grow differently than South Koreans who have more freedom. And they have a lot of health problems like cataracts, and different things like that. A lot of birth defects because they're withdrawn, like they're limited with the access to medical supplies and stuff because he's the leader. Here's another thing, and this is the big thing, and I want you to hear me on this. They hate America. They hate Americans. That's why it's a ban over there. It's a risk of being detained for no reason. You see what happened with the one guy in that video that I just played. He came back in a vegetative state, and he was a regular dude. He wasn't military. They know this man is military. So whether he's black or white, I'm going to tell you, color ain't got nothing to do with it in this thing, because when you go to other countries, they deal with you not by the color of your skin, but by the country you represent. This man is not only an American, he's a soldier, a bargaining chip. But ain't no bargaining right now because they're at odds. When Trump was in office, remember he was like, hey, Rocket Man and all this stuff, disrespecting him. And the stuff escalated with North Korea with the making nuclear weapons and all this other stuff. Stop firing these rockets. You fire one more rocket. Remember, Trump was like, you fire one more rocket, we're going to do. What happened? 6 hours later, F you, Trump. Ew, he shoot a rocket right over Japan. They test rockets all the time. They hate the U.S. Do you know they have movies over there? Action movies that they steal from like Hollywood, and they change the whole narrative. And every end goal in every movie they have, well, most of them, is destroying the United States. Their national anthem has, if you look at their national anthem, it has stuff where they talk about destroying America. They hate South Korea because South Korea deals with America. They always talking about going in and invading. Why do you think his military base is over there in South Korea to stop North Korea from running through there? He is in the worst possible place on earth he could be as far as being detained. He would have a better shot in Russia. Brittany Griner, when she was over there in Russia, she was doing better than he is right now, if he's alive. And that brings me to this last point. My honest opinion, I think he's gone already. They know he's a soldier. They haven't answered the call. U.S. can't talk to them directly. They going through Sweden. And they ain't answering Sweden. You know why? They know he's a soldier. They wipe him out. Then this is when you know if he's gone or not. And I want you guys to pay attention. If they never answer, and then they say, what soldier? That right there lets you know. Me, honestly, I think one of two things. I think he's expired already. They killed him. Or two, he did get back into the country and he's living among the people until he gets caught. I mean, this guy is a trained army guy. He know how to read maps and traverse terrain. Unless them guards at the DMZ saw him get grabbed by North Koreans, guards, it's all up in the air. And I hope the latter is the thing, because I mean, I wouldn't want to see him going through hell over there. You know what I mean? Now, he should have came home. You got a military directive. Now, I'm ex-military. What he did was asinine. That was some stupid stuff. And he should know better. But I mean, you never know what goes through anybody's mind. Do I think he has mental problems? No, I don't think he got mental problems. I don't think he has mental problems because what he did was calculated. I mean, he put time and effort into that. I just think he was coming home, and I don't know if it was the public embarrassment with his family, because I mean, he's still in the military, but I just think he faced the court martial coming back here. He might have faced more jail time. He was like, you know what? I ain't doing this no more. F y'all. You know, y'all making a big deal. You know, people get personalized sometimes with the way, you know, jobs are and the way they discipline you. Who knows? All I know is this is a crazy thing. And the U.S. really has their hands tied. This is not like Brittany Griner, where they can talk through somebody and the relationship, though it's rocky, voices are being heard. Over in North Korea, Kim Jong-un controls what comes in and comes out of the country, audio and visually. So it's up to him, and he hates America. So for all we know, this might never get resolved. And as far as the bargaining chip, ain't no bargain, because right now North Korea is smelling themselves and they don't care what the U.S. say. They tried to bargain with them before about the nuclear weapons and just shooting a rocket in the air. You got a U.S. soldier over there. I could honestly see them, wipe him out. We don't have to deal with this, you know. And then we had a fever pitch right now, intention with them. I'm just saying. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. But I mean, leave a comment, man. Some of you guys ex-military and some of you people out there, man, what do you think's really going to happen? I think he's gone. I think they didn't already took care of that. I mean, and when I hope I'm wrong, but I mean, you'll hear if they don't never say, "Hey, we got this soldier." If they if they don't answer back, or they say, "What soldier?" You already know what time it is. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good work day and good morning, by the way.